Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Clarity Container. My name is Omika. I'm your host, and I am so grateful that you're here. As always, I respect your time and your energy. I know you could be doing a million other things right now, so the fact that you're spending your time with me means so much. So, I want to keep this brief, actionable, and inspiring as much as possible. Today, I want to talk about love. So, I wanted to talk specifically about love and the strength it requires to be in love. And I wanted to share some of my own personal stories where I will be going deep into some of my own life experiences and the lessons I have learned as somebody who considers myself to be ambitious and independent, and how I have figured out what love means to me and how to fit that into my identity and into my being. So, if you're someone who is exploring this topic right now, maybe you are dating, maybe you've just gotten into a relationship, or you're about to take that next step, or anything like that, really, where you're contemplating the role of love in your life as somebody who is ambitious, high achieving, and has a lot of hopes and dreams for yourself, I wanted to share some personal anecdotes and insights that I hope will shape your own understanding of this experience as well. So, a little background on me. I had been single for a really long time. I am the oldest of three daughters. So, I always kind of joke that I am hyper independent, and I had lived in a bunch of different places after college. I actually moved about, oh my gosh, was it 7 or 8 times since I graduated 10 years ago? So, I've moved a lot, and I've always moved for work, for professional reasons. It's always, the next opportunity, the next thing. I actually lived abroad for several years as well because I was looking for a lot of professional growth, especially throughout my 20s. And I absolutely got that. I ended up then going to business school. And throughout this time, for me, to be very honest with you, dating was not a priority. So I had my first real boyfriend when I was in college. And this was very tough because he was not Indian, and this is my first real relationship, so I learned a lot from it, but it also caused a lot of issues between me and my parents. And so after he and I broke up is actually when I went on my path of personal growth and spirituality and healing, because I had a lot to learn from that experience. That ended when I was about 20, and then ever since then I've been on this self discovery journey, and it has I think after going through that, what I realized was no, I really want to figure myself out first. I want to create a life that I'm proud of. I want to be financially independent. I want to be successful. I want to achieve all of my goals and dreams. And I don't ever want to be in a situation where somebody is telling me what I can or can't do. So that's been my motto throughout the past, 10 plus years, where I am very steadfast and headstrong, and I always have prioritized myself. And yes, I have learned a shit ton about self-love and growth and healing and all of those things. But everything changed about 2.5 years ago when I met my now partner, who I have been engaged to for almost a year now. When I met him, I was 28, and I, again, had been single for literally all of my 20s. I would move around, I may go on dates with people, etc. But um, I just hadn't met the right person until I met him. And so when I met him, I actually was not looking for anything serious. I mean, I was open to it. I was like, yeah, I'm 28. I'm ready to take that next step in my life. But I had just moved back to New York after 11 years away. So I was ready to create a life for myself and do all the things I wanted to in New York, figure out my people, my places, my hobbies, focus on my career. I had just graduated from business school. So I was really focusing on me. And I thought I had done all this healing and self work and, been to all these retreats and trainings and blah, 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 blah. And I just have to say that in the past 2.5 years, being in this relationship with him has challenged me and forced me to grow in so many ways that I could not have done when I was single. And again, I am so, so grateful for my single chapter because it allowed me to have the confidence that I do now and to build the life of my dreams and to also be secure in my relationship. And, I thought I had it all figured out, and then I met him and it was really hard. Um And what's been really on my mind recently is the fact that I just moved to Austin. So, as some of you know, I moved to Austin in August of 2024. So, I went through a lot of big changes. I changed jobs, I got engaged, I moved, like all within the span of 2 to 3 months, which was a lot. And if I were to go back and tell my younger self that I did that, I think she would be shocked because she would be like, "What the heck? You moved for a guy? Like, that is so weak and soft and, like, not cool of you. Like, why would you do that? He should move for you." And yes, I definitely went through a lot of those feelings. And specifically, I was kind of nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, am I letting go of my identity of being this strong, independent, ambitious woman because I'm just like moving to where this guy lives? Like, it was just so, so challenging and confronting for me. But in that process, I had this realization when I reflected on it, and that was actually me falling in love and me moving for someone is a huge sign of strength, resilience, and bravery than me staying put and being cowardly, not being fully committed, waiting for someone else to take the reins. Like, me taking that huge risk was actually a giant moment of bravery for me. And the reason I will explain why that is because my partner and I had been long distance for almost 2 years at that point. We had never lived in the same place, let alone the same, you know, city, apartment, whatever. Like, we had never been in the same place for longer than our visits to each other, which the longest visit was probably a few weeks long. And so it's a really big risk to be like, yeah, I know this person. I've been in a relationship with them and I love them so much, obviously, and I see a future with them. And I'm going to take this huge risk and move across the country for someone that I mean, I know, but I've never lived in the same place as him. It was a really, really big risk. And to me, that was a huge sign of bravery. And here's why. I moved with every intention of this working out. Obviously, I want to marry this person. I want to start a life with this person. And when you make a big move like that, you also, deep down inside, have to be okay with things not working out. Now, this sounds really controversial and you're like, "Oh my God, why? Like, why on earth would you ever say this? Why would you even put that out?" Right? That is not my hope. Of course, my hope is to build my life with this person. But when you take such a big risk like that out of love, out of bravery, what you're actually saying to yourself and the universe is, I'm going to be okay no matter what. No matter what, I got this. I got myself. I have the resources, I have the resilience, I have the self love and trust necessary to do whatever the situation demands of me. I have certainty that things are going to work out. And things working out doesn't mean them working out in the exact way that I have laid out in this, imaginary fantasy scenario that I've created in my mind. But things working out means that no matter what is happening around me, whether or not things work out, quote unquote, I will be okay. And that was this huge reframe for me as someone, again, who has been so independent, so just on my own. I'm like, I don't need anyone. I love living by myself. Like, I really, really do. Um, it was this massive confrontation with myself of, oh my God, am I actually going to do this? And what does this say about me? Does it mean that I'm no longer this, badass girl? But no, it actually means that and if you're going through this right now, it means that you have a beautiful heart, that you are open to new experiences, that you trust not only yourself, but also the universe in things working out the way they're supposed to. And that's been my biggest lesson from all of this, from this move. I mean, it's been almost 7 months now, so I've had more time to reflect. And I'm like, wow, that was a bold move that I did. My whole family's in New York. I always thought I would end up there, but I saw something here. I saw something for myself, for my future, even for my career. I saw possibilities that the people around me couldn't necessarily see. And I really went against the grain in doing this. And that was really, really scary. Something I've learned from going through some of these experiences, especially, being in other quote unquote situationships with emotionally unavailable people and avoiding love out of fear, is that when you avoid love out of fear, that is you actually being a coward. That is way more weak than letting yourself fall in love, than being soft and vulnerable and letting someone in, because you know that you got yourself. You got it. No matter what this person does to you, like just the act of giving someone your heart is a beautiful experience that I promise no other personal growth or self-development can give to you. And the reason that love is a sign of strength is because it takes courage to be seen. Like, it would be so easy for me to be like, yeah, I got it all figured out. I'm not triggered by anything. And I live on a mountaintop in the Himalayas and I'm just meditating all day. And no, love triggers you. Love makes you step up to the plate and be someone else's partner. It makes you confront all of your shit. You can't hide from yourself. You can't run away from yourself when you are experiencing that. And I have never experienced anything like that in any way. It also requires a great deal of emotional security within yourself. So if you're not secure within yourself, it's really hard to experience love, because love will make you feel bad. It will bring up your core wounds. It'll bring up all your attachment things from childhood. And it requires so much resilience. That idea of, I will pick myself back up if I fall, or if this thing does not work out, I will be okay. That is real strength. Love can expand you in ways that being by yourself never can. And it's not about being dependent. It's about being brave. I heard this beautiful phrase when I was a senior in college. This was a long time ago now. And it really stuck with me. So I was at a Jesuit college convention, because I went to a Jesuit university. And one of the speakers, who was a professor at the university that was hosting the conference, taught us this idea of being the first to love. And it stuck with me, because when she said, be the first to love, what she meant is in every aspect, in your relationships, in your career, in your friendships, can you be the first to love? And what that means is, can you be the first to show love, to show courage, to show connection and vulnerability without any expectation that the person across the table from you is going to reciprocate that? And I love that, because it's not only about romantic relationships, but it's also about friendships. I mean, I think a lot of people nowadays, we're all feeling lonely and disconnected, and we've forgotten that we can actually make that first move. I mean, it might be weird in the dating world, but saying what you stand for, saying this is what I'm looking for, saying, hey, I really like your company, I want to be friends, or hey, I want to invite you to this thing that I'm hosting, or even, hey, I'm going to take this big risk in trying out this new business idea that I've had. Those are all examples of being the first to love. So even if you are not actively in a relationship or seeking one out, there are so many ways to experience love, to experience giving, to experience that higher power working through you, of connection, of generosity, of selflessness. And that is what's really beautiful about this. There's so many ways for us to experience that and have the people in our lives experience that too. So I know that was a lot of different musings and thoughts, but I really wanted to share this idea of what it means to be strong in the context of love. I think, unfortunately, with with the dating apps that we have, with social media, we feel like we have this endless stream of supply. We're experiencing decision fatigue. And it's so much easier, it really, really is, to just be a coward, to shy away from hard conversations, to frankly not be the first to love, to let someone else come to you first. But I think there is so much power, strength, and beauty in that vulnerability of letting someone in, taking big risks, and seeing how things play out. So for me, like I mentioned, that was what inspired me to move to Austin. I know I haven't shared that a lot publicly because it's so personal to me, but I think people in my life didn't really get it. They didn't understand why I would do such a thing. But guess what? I have moved for jobs before. I have moved for a lot of other things before that I deem to be more worthy. And yet, why is love not worthy? Why do we shy away from these difficult, brave moments? So, anyway, that is what's on my mind about love and strength and courage. So I see you. If you are going through a new relationship or you're putting yourself out there and dating and experiencing love, I just want you to know, especially if you think that it's a sign of weakness or vulnerability and that's a negative thing, I just want you to know that you are freaking awesome. You are strong. You are putting yourself out there, and that is so freaking cool. Like, good for you because that is what the world needs more of. And I so appreciate you. I want you to keep doing that. Keep letting that higher power of love and frequency of love work through you because it will change your life and it's just going to be amazing. So, thank you again for listening to this, for tuning in. I would love to know what resonated with you. If something really moves you, I would encourage you to share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe and leave a comment, leave a rating. It means so much. And feel free to DM me with any of your other thoughts. I would love to hear what landed. And I will see you next time.